This is the age of the multidimensional self.
Hi there, it's Kelly here from Divine Alchemy Healing, and today we're very honoured and delighted to introduce Colleen Flanagan to you. She's the author of 9 books, would you believe, on tapping and dowsing and all sorts of things. And hello, Colleen, how are you today?
I'm great, Kelly. It's a beautiful day here in Arizona. How are you doing over across the pond?
Well, it's not so beautiful as in the day. Well, the day's ending now, but like it's been sort of cold. But it's, we're getting towards spring, and we're seeing glimpses of sunlight, which is always a great joy for me because it's just, it makes everything so beautiful, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
do you want to tell us how you first got into using pendulums and dowsing as a starting point, and then we'll let you go from there.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for having me on today. I'm so excited to share everything I can with your audience. So, when I first started dowsing, I didn't use pendulums. A friend of mine she's a software engineer as I was back in the 1980s. We worked with all these guys. We were about like the few women who worked there, and especially very few lady engineers. And so we were both metaphysical types, and we had to be very quiet about our beliefs because they are very logical guys. And we had a logical side to do our engineering, but we also had a beautiful divine feminine side to explore anything we could about New Age and metaphysical stuff. So she had heard about muscle testing, and at the end of a work day, she came up to me, she goes, I learned something new, I got to test it out on you. And I'm like, okay. So she had envelopes with different things in them, sealed envelopes. I didn't know what was in them. And she explained to me about muscle testing, 2-person muscle testing. You put your arm out, and then the tester will ask a question and gently push on your wrist. And if your wrist holds strong, then that's a yes. And if your wrist moves or your arm moves, that's a no. So it was really weird for me because I had never heard of this, but I fell in love with it instantly because my arm went right down. With one envelope, there was a cigarette in it, and then another envelope, it went right down, there was a packet of sugar in it. And then another time, my arm was strong as could be, there was vitamin C tablets in it. So it proved to me right then and there, your body doesn't have to see, what something is. It knows right away. It senses it right away. And so we got into this 2-person muscle testing for years. It was just astounding. And then she even taught a class about healing and doing the 2-person muscle testing and such. And then I learned how to do self-applied muscle testing, which is using your hands, and asking spirit or your subconscious, whatever it is. And I learned it from a doctor who I went out with. And he just showed me, when he started, you put your hands straight out and then you put them together. And when your fingertips touch, that's a yes answer. And if your fingertips go like below to the palm, that's a no answer. And he found that very effective because you can't fake the results. I mean, you will feel your arm like moving. In the beginning, it was a little bit weird, I have to say, a little creepy. I'm like, this is like some force is moving my hand to the yes or the no. So I did that for a long, long time. And then I think it was years later, I started meeting people. I started doing demonstrations and teaching emotional freedom technique classes and muscle testing classes at some local businesses here, which were bookstores that also taught metaphysical things and holistic classes and all that intuitive things and how to do card readings. They'd have psychic expos. And I started learning more from watching my colleagues use pendulums. So of course I had to get a pendulum. I have 3 now.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I keep one in my office, one in my bedroom, and one in my living room. And so I know exactly where they are when I need them. And while I still love muscle testing because for me it's way faster than using a pendulum, and I'm in a hurry a lot. When you're my age, you have no time to waste. So, but when I started learning, one of the ladies I work with, we used to work on each other and do classes and things. she taught me about how to take a pendulum, or you could use your hand or a necklace because it's your intention. And she would do it over my chakras and such and spin, yeah, with the pendulum to the left to clear and then to the right to instill positive energies. And then I would dowse and test and see what percentage the energies had changed. And that's when I fell in love with pendulums. They're just so cool. I mean, they're amazing. But for me, I like the muscle testing because if I'm somewhere out and about, I don't bring pendulums with me or charts or anything like that. So I just use, yeah, my muscle testing. And the other one, as you have mentioned that you know, is using your body like a pendulum, doing the sway test. Yeah, where you just sort of sway forward for a yes or sway back or to the side or whatever for a no. It depends on how you program it in. So I did all that, and I'll tell you why I got into combining mind, body, wisdom and pendulum work and dowsing and EFT. Around 2002, I was making more money I had ever made in my life. I was doing international project management and handling multi-million-dollar software installations around the world. And it was the most stressful job I ever had in my life. And I knew all this stuff, but I wasn't applying it. And I got very sick from the stress. And the doctors gave me drugs and I got sicker. So they gave me drugs to stop me from getting sicker from the drugs they gave me. And I got sicker and sicker, and oh, it was awful. And so I just, by then I was hearing messages from spirit, and I knew something had to be done. So I just checked out everything I could. And that's how I found EFT. A couple of doctors were on a radio show talking about tapping and such. And I'm like, oh, I don't believe that, because I'm very skeptical. That's probably the engineer part of me. I'm like, I don't believe that. So I tried, they did some demos, and sure enough, I started feeling better.
Yes.
So that's when I went into a meditative state, and I'm asking spirit, what do I do with all this information? And they said, use the dowsing to find the hidden fears or energies that need to be released. Use EFT to release those energies, and use the dowsing again in order to make sure they're 100% gone. So the idea that your body is reacting to your mind and your emotions and stuff, and we repress emotions, and they're sometimes stored in different parts of our bodies, and if they're not released, it can lead to horrible ailments. Like I had terrible foot pain, leg pain, hip pain, arthritic pain. My elbow was swollen up so high. Of course, right side is about the logical things, like work and income and stuff. And I was afraid about getting, these projects, if you didn't get them right, they would get so many. Of course, like I said, it was multi-million-dollar project.
Yeah.
But you had to get them done on time, and it was so stressful.
Yeah.
So I started just figuring out how I could use mind, body, wisdom, dowsing, EFT to clear it, dowsing to check it, and sort of establish a routine for myself, like doing my self-session. And like Raymond Gray says, I am my own best client. So we like to experiment on ourselves first. And within a year of doing all this and learning all this, I felt way better. And the arthritic pain subsided.
Wow.
And and the digestive tract, the acid reflux, and just feeling sick inside, that was gone. And eventually the feet were okay. You know, the foot pain is often indicative of us being afraid to walk our path. And I was terrified to walk mine.
Yeah.
But, I couldn't just quit or anything. I had to support myself.
Yeah.
So I think when people, instead of repressing their emotions, they should express their emotions. And I don't mean yell back at people or anything, especially online, but just, express them, through an emotional release technique. It could be EFT. There's Reiki, there's so many things. And Spirit gave me a shortcut to clear the governing vessel meridian like this, or tapping under nose at EFT point. There's so many things you can do. Just do them. And, but people seem unaware of how much their emotions are affecting their bodies in a non-beneficial way. I was one of those people But now, as soon as something comes up, if I have time, I just clear it right on the spot.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel so good at my age, in my 70s. I feel like I'm in my 20s.
You look
And I just, well, thank you. I love my life, but I'm relaxed, I'm happy, I'm joyful. And if something happens to change that, I will work on it and correct it and fix it.
yeah.
So I've done back before I retired. Now I just make videos and I write books, but I used to do one-on-one sessions with people around the world and with their animal friends and things like that. Um, and it was astounding to see the power of all these tools combined into one. And my wish for this planet, of course, is not only peace, but also that people realize you don't have to suffer. There's so much stuff, so much information out there. You don't have to repress these emotions. Just deal with them. Like, even I know here in the United States, people love to watch television, but a lot of, yeah, when a commercial break comes on, do some clearing,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes when I go out for a walk in the morning out to the desert park behind my house and such, and I will actually start doing some clearing. And then if people come by and see me tapping under my nose, this is just some crazy old lady walking around, it's okay, as long as they don't call the cops or anything. So just, you don't have to sit down and make a big deal out of it. Just do it as soon as you can and get it done. And that's my message to people today. You have the power. You don't have to suffer. Please just find something you love to do and do it. Okay. And for me, it was something that works very quickly and something that I could easily explain to others to help them too.
Yeah.
So that's what I just started doing and helping others and giving classes here in town, some classes online. And I've been using pendulum and muscle testing, mind body wisdom. One of my favorite books by a UK author is Your Body Speaks Your Mind by Deb Shapiro. It's really good. It's got a CD in the back so you could meditate and tap into your different thing. But the thing I like about it, as well as Louise Hay's work, and there's so many other books on mind body wisdom, this one just works for me, is she'll define the emotions that can cause ailments in different body parts, but then she has a list of questions you should ask yourself to bring out the reasons. So I love that. Anyway, it served me well to help other people, and I'm so happy to share this information. And so thank you again.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And yeah, it's really interesting what you were saying about tapping when you're out walking, because I often when I'm out walking my dog in the morning, I'm just tapping, excuse me, tapping rounds, because I'm aware that most people, they're not paying attention to you. I've tapped on trains as well, on the way to hospital or wherever I'm going, and most people are stuck in their phones. They're not looking, even you can go like this and no one's going to notice because they're like that. So I just do what I do whenever I'm out and about. Nothing embarrasses me anymore, because I'm just, I don't think people really notice. And obviously I go out with Frog as well, who when we're out walking and we feed crows when we go. He does great big crow calls as we walk, and I've seen people jump out of their skin if they're in too bit of a close contact. So
I love it.
Yeah, it's all good, isn't it? And what led you to, you've got your book Fearless Accurate Dowsing behind you. What crossed over from, doing it yourself to writing that book and, actually thinking, right, I'm going to put this out there for people?
Yeah, so many people ask me to write a book because they wanted to learn it as well. And classes were not enough. They wanted a reference guide and such. And I kept thinking, I know the kind of dowsing I do is unique. I don't know anyone else who does the muscle testing just with your hands like this. As people do this one and all this. And those are actually covered in the book, along with the pendulum. But people just wanted a go-to guide. And so I just started writing it, and it's been through several revisions. And and it actually has in the back some charts, because some people like a step-by-step procedure exactly to follow.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to help like another person, especially if they're in distress, like it could be a client, a family member, a friend, an animal friend.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're upset because they're upset, and we're afraid for their safety. So we might blank out the steps to do. So that's why I put these charts in the back of the book, so people be, okay, we did this, now go through here. And again, I just wanted to help people with my information and let them enjoy dowsing, because for me, dowsing is one of the best gifts. Learning how to dowse, the best gifts I ever gave myself. It's probably 3 of the top gifts in my life. Like my health is very important, of course, my spirituality, and then knowing how to dowse and sharing it with other people. So the funny thing about this book is I have other books. This one is a bestseller. It was a bestseller first week and on Amazon, but also it outsells all of my other books combined all the time. So that tells me that people love dowsing and they want to learn more. And that makes me so happy, because it's a great way to move into healing. And I mean, you can use, as you know, dowsing for just about anything. I've used it. We have on our voting ballots,
Right.
a list of judges. Yeah, these judges, I don't know who they are.
Right.
And I've talked to some friends, and there was like probably 30 of them at one point. And one of my friends goes, I just all marked no on them, and another one of my friends is like, I just say yes, because unless they have some kind of a name that I don't like, it's just like this, oh no, he doesn't look good. And so, but I'm like, there's got to be a better way for this. So I will actually dowse over each of the judges' names and ask if they work for the benefit of the voters and the constituents and the people of Phoenix or Arizona.
Wow.
And just go through really quickly asking that and find who I think is good and who isn't.
Is there anyone left afterwards? Is anyone working for everyone? So that's good.
There's always a few, and I'm going to be nasty and say they're usually women.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I love dowsing. I am such a huge fan of it. I love it. I learn more. I bought some dowsing rods, just because I've seen other people use them and they're so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I thought I want to do that too, even though I can do well with all my other tools in my hands.
Yeah.
I haven't really mastered them yet, but I found that I had some fears about the dowsing rods, that I was never going to succeed in getting them to work, because I actually bought them probably 3 years ago, and then somehow I cleaned around my house and rearranged stuff, and I lost them, because I put them somewhere I wouldn't forget where they were, but of course I did.
Yeah.
And and so, which is leading me to a point I would like to make. I of course monitor, not all the time, but when I have time, the different dowsing groups on Facebook, including the one that you're involved in, of course, and the other ones. And I like, because I'm really interested in people's questions.
Yes.
What do they want to know? How can I help them? What videos can I make on YouTube to help people, new dowsers? Because I remember when I was starting out, there was nothing.
No.
There were no dowsing books, nothing.
There's no Facebook.
And so you just it was a wasteland of nothing to learn dowsing.
Yeah.
And so I want to help people learn it way faster than I did. It took me many, many years to get this good. So one of the biggest block to intuition, to fearless, accurate dowsing, to a lot of things in life, in fact, is a fear of failure.
Yeah.
And I just want to tell all dowsers now, and I know sometimes even if you're an experienced dowser, and then suddenly you feel like you lost it, right? It's like, why am I getting wrong answers? Well, the first thing I would check is polarity reversals.
Yeah.
And and yes, and the one thing about polarity reversals is you can dowse, like I'll just show you how I do. do I, human Colleen right now, have one or more polarity reversals anywhere in my energy? No. The thing is, you can test, no, I don't have polarity reversals, because you have polarity reversals, right? They are giving you a wrong answer. So when you get wrong answers, first thing I do, and I'll ask, I'm from Ohio. So do I live in the state of Ohio at this time? Yes. Do I live in the state of Arizona at this time? No. See, so I have a polarity reversal, but I asked, do I have a polarity reversal? And I said no, because I have a polarity reversal.
Yeah.
So you can clear them with your pendulum just by, spinning to the left.
Should we do it?
I know. Yes, let's do it.
My giant one for Mary Byrne.
You'll be reversing polarity reversals all over the UK.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so big and powerful. Yeah. I now reverse all polarity reversals in my body, mind, emotion, spirit, energy, bodies, aura, every single part of me, now and forever. And so it is, but it won't last forever, I will tell you that. That's pretty much what I do. Then I spin to the right and say something that's really sort of weird, but Spirit gave it to me. So I say, I now instill factory fresh polarities into my energy, and just with the energy of my house, my property, my neighborhood, my city, my state, my country, the whole planet. Oh, beautiful factory fresh, correct polarities around the world now, that all may live in peace and love and harmony and joy and bliss, and so it is. And that's what I do. And I do, similar things for a fear of failure. So new dowsers often have a fear of failure.
Yeah.
And they also, people who have been dowsing for a while, or even doing intuitive readings of any kind, sometimes you just hit, and it's often associated when you have a trauma in your life, like a loved one being ill or money issues or something like that. It's almost like the polarities get shifted, you get a fear, and it can affect your dowsing. So all you got to do is clear it, and you could think, okay, what fear of failure do I have? If you don't know what fear of failure you have that's, affecting your dowsing, you can try to douse for it, but you can do a general clearing, which isn't so good, which I would just, here's what I would do for a fear of failure for people who don't know what is, affecting their dowsing or their intuition, and suddenly they can't do accurate readings for other people. I used to be an online psychic for about 5 years.
Yeah, I read
and that was a trip in itself. That's for sure. Oh my goodness. But some great things happen. You can just spin your pendulum to the left and just say, and it's almost like a little EFT thing, even though I don't know what this fear of failure is. I now clear it out of my energy from any time in this life, all past lives, my DNA, my ancestors, whatever this fear of failure came up. And if it's important for me to learn what this fear of failure is, to know what is the core issue, it will come to me, if not now, sometime in the near future, and remind me to release it, and so it is. So that's one way to do it.
Yeah. Cool.
And then you can, if you want, you can instill, what do you want to put in? I now replace this fear of failure by spinning to the right and allowing Spirit to bring into me a sense of freedom, of peace, of success in all that I do. Thank you, Spirit. I'm so grateful for everything I know now, and I'm grateful that my intuition is now at 100% effectiveness and functionality. In fact, I now recharge, rebalance, realign my sixth sense, my intuition, my psychic skills, my intuitive skills, all of these beautiful gifts from Spirit to 100% effectiveness and functionality, and so it is. So it's, everyone, I've talked to a number of people. I just don't have time for this. It only takes a minute or two. Please do something. Yeah, it's very important to do something, because it's not going to get better on its own usually.
That's the thing, isn't it? I think when people say that, what they mean really is that they don't want to face up to their own responsibility to clear or do something, because everybody has got time if they want to. I mean, switch off the telly for 5 minutes. You know,
Yes.
it doesn't even take 5 minutes a lot of the time, isn't it? I was going to ask you one question about that fear of failure because I have a thing that I think may be common. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. And when I'm working with clients that I've built up a really good trust with, I can literally channel my guides or whatever guides come in for them, and I feel them come in, you know. But if I feel pressured or like someone asks me a very direct question, I know I'm blocking it because it's like something inside me goes, nope, you're not going there. Like, and I've always wondered what well, I sort of know, you know, it's a fear of making a statement to someone that feels like I'm taking a risk because I'm giving them the information that I'm getting, but I don't necessarily want to take that risk. Whereas, you know, I've got other clients, they won't necessarily ask me anything, but will tune in and I'll be off, you know. And
Yes.
yeah, it's like when they ask a you know, a very specific question, I sort of block it. So what would you say that fear is? Like, I mean, it probably is a fear of failure. It is a fear of failure of some sort, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, it's a fear of failure, but you also, and I understand that fear because I would have that on the psychic lines. Sometimes you get some real snarky, almost nasty people, who are not patient
Yeah.
and start pushing you for timelines and stuff like that. And you try to explain to them that the future is fluid. You can change anything with a thought or an
Yeah.
action. Yeah, but I just want to know when.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I feel like you said that fear of failure. Yeah. And so it's a fear of failure, but it's also a fear of not being safe and like a fear of making a mistake and a fear of being ridiculed for it. So what I would do is I would douse for what is the core issue? What is the root? You know, what age was I when this fear? It could have been, see, okay, so what's coming through to me now is there was some time when you were in grade school, age, after age 10, age 9, and you were called on by a teacher. And this is what I do quite often is spirit talks to me intuitively and I'll verify it with my muscle testing.
Yeah.
Just to be sure the subconscious mind hasn't sneaked in some BS, you know?
Yeah. That blooming subconscious mind.
Yeah, so you were age 9 and you were called on in school and you didn't know the answer. Maybe you hadn't studied the night before or
It's
it
quite
just
likely.
slipped your mind. Yeah, I can relate, trust me. I hated school because I just wanted to read and study on my own because I just like to, yeah, but that's that's why I love my life now. I can do whatever I want. Anyway, so let's see. This fear that Kelly has that is giving her that, or as remember Gary Craig has said the zit, the
Yeah.
emotional zit.
Yeah.
Yeah, in your energy system, it's like, oh, uh, is fear of not being safe, fear of failure, fear the bad times are never going to end, fear of rejection or abandonment, fear of the consequences of success. So I'm getting the 5 fears I always test for. It is a fear of failure from that time that is triggered. And see, like when you were talking about it and you went like this, again, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
It's lodged in your 5th chakra. Also your 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Okay, just in the 5th chakra. So what I would do is just, well, let's do it. Oh, and we'll check the severity too. The severity of Kelly's fear of giving incorrect information to her clients or even to herself. That from grade school is level 10-9. Okay, so it's a 9. It's pretty high up there out of 0 to 10. And I would just start spinning and say, we now connect with Kelly's energy with so much love and gratitude for our session today. Spinning to the left, we now clear out from her 5th chakra and any other parts of her entire energy system all her fears of failure, and especially the one that goes back to age 9 when she was in, I guess they call it middle school too, but grade school, middle school. And she a teacher asked her a question and she didn't know the answer and she was terrified of failing. And it's been lodged in there for a while. So it's time to clear that out and for her to feel safe to allow spirit to come through now at any time. And even to tell her clients if she needs to, I'm not getting any information on that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, it's okay to set boundaries and even tell people I'm not, making stuff up to make you happy. I'm going to tell you what spirit says because some of them, they one lady said to me, this isn't anything like what I saw on television.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you mean the California psychics? She goes, oh yeah, I watch them all the time.
Yeah.
This isn't anything like it. And I'm like, that's correct because I'm not one of those California psychics. So people have their expectations and we need to manage them. And it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So I just, oh my goodness. I don't know if you just felt a huge, like a release
Well,
or something going on.
literally came into my mind was sometimes the reason I'm fearful is because the question people have asked it's quite complex and they don't really understand how the future works and timelines and things like that. And it feels like a big burden almost. And that's what makes me shut down to it as well. Like this sort of burden of, well, I can't really explain this to you because you're not at this place at the moment where you're going to be able to accept all of this information. I certainly don't want to overwhelm you, and so there's this part of me that just goes nope. But I'm very willing to allow spirit to say what they need to say, whatever the answer is. And I think that sort of feels like that's getting easier, like I'm taking steps toward. It doesn't happen a lot because most of my clients are extremely receptive.
Yeah. Okay. So while you were talking, I'm getting all this input. And the one thing I got was when you said, I'm okay with telling the client, as much as I can. I was testing the truth of what you said. Your conscious mind believes you are, but your subconscious mind does not. So here's a quick tip for anyone, along with the polarity reversal stuff, is I learned this a long time ago when I was studying to be an EFT practitioner, is you can test and see if your energy wants to heal, wants to be healthy, wants to be communicative, or wants to release the fear of failure by just, you can use a pendulum, obviously, anything you want. And you just say, okay, Kelly here would like to be able to discuss questions that clients give to her easily, effortlessly, and with a completely fearless disposition. And I got to know. Okay, so when we tested you last, you were at level 9 of 10. And so let's just check Kelly's fear of failure, talking to clients that was lodged in her 5th chakra, is now at level 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Okay, so we got it down to a 4. You probably learned about that when you were studying EFT, the different layers. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And especially like dealing with money and some ailments and stuff, there could be lots and lots of layers.
Yeah.
But just work them one at a time.
Yeah.
So let me see if this is a good demo of muscle testing to do. Do I have your permission to find out when this, yeah, okay. Kelly's fear of failure, that's at level 4 now, is from the year 2000 and beyond. Okay, 2000, or I should say 1990 to 2000. Okay, it is 1998, 1999, 98, 97, 96, 95, 1995.
Okay. I'm trying to
You were probably 2 years old then.
Yeah.
I was way old. I'm old enough to be your grandma, but I love it because I feel like the Southwestern desert crone.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Or granny.
I mean, so what year did you say?
95.
95. So I would have been 23.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You look like you're 23 now, but so let me just see. Here's how I find out more information. You do. Let me just check.
I can.
Okay, so Kelly's fear from 1995, it was a traumatic event that happened. Is this related to her personal life? Like whatever she was doing business-wise or school-wise at the time? Okay, so something happened in your personal life in 1995. Is it about a relationship with someone? It's family. Okay. Family. About mom, dad. Okay. Do we need any further information to clear it? Okay. So if you were a client, and I like to ask, is there any information we need? I rarely go deeply, or I did when I was practicing, into someone's personal life. Sometimes they'll just say, oh, I know exactly what that is. And
Yeah.
other times they don't. And it's like, I don't need to go deeply into it because the pendulum spinning will clear it, or the EFT, or whatever you want to use. So you ready to do a quick clearing?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. We now release for our precious Kelly, this sweet soul here, her fear of failure from 1995, dealing with her father, whatever it is, wherever he was, whatever happened. Her subconscious knows. But it was regarding something she couldn't say or wanted to say, or maybe she said. God only knows, I've said some stupid things to my parents. Jeez. Okay. So let's clear it out. Her fear of failure now. Whatever it is, her subconscious mind knows, her superconscious knows. And we allow it to be released now. And I just keep spinning and talking until I feel in my energy like a jolt of energy, like just being released, which is coming from you. Just clearing it out, letting it go. And allowing, it's like something doesn't want it to leave. Something I'm getting.
I always have this.
Okay, that's not good.
It's like I can feel that tiny bit of resistance.
Yes.
I think what I'm getting is my unconscious felt like I know what it is. So it was we had a big entity invasion a couple of years prior to that, and then we had some little ones. It was part of my training in a way because I had to learn how to deal with them. But I told my dad about them, and of course he's sort of looking at me like I think his words were, have you joined a cult? Like
oh my goodness. Well, that would do it. Yes, yeah. That would do it for me too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, it taught me something. It taught me you can't tell everything to everybody. You must be discerning. But it also, because it was my own dad, who I love dearly, I think there was another part of me that was sort of hurt. You know, that he believed.
Be yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a big ask for him to believe it, to be honest. But yeah, I think that's what it was.
Okay, so here's what I would do. Is let's see how this works for you. We now call in Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael, and Source Creator, Prime Creator, Papa. And we now ask your assistance in helping us to release from Kelly's 5th chakra and all over her entire energy system from that situation with her dad, when she told her dad something that made him think she was in a cult. And we also now ask Archangel Michael to pull out, and her spirit, Kelly's spirit doctors as well, to remove from her, scramble the energy, neutralize the frequency and the vibration of this resistance in her chest area. Like it's almost, I hate to say demonic, but it's non-beneficial energies, entities, and some implants, and I'm getting some little pods and seeds in there. Let's just clear all that out now. Thank you, Michael and Raphael. And Raphael, would you fill Kelly and me and all the people watching now with light and love and peace and healing? And Archangel Michael, if anyone is calling on you now while they're watching this video, would you please help them remove all things that are non-beneficial and need removing now and forever, and so it is. I'm sorry, when I do a clearing this deep, and I start coughing.
Yes,
not all the time.
Yeah. when they're coming in, I start sneezing, and I'm like, oh, sorry, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's all better now. Okay.
Oh, that does.
I'm just gonna, you can keep going. Uh, Kelly's fears from the incident with her dad when he was, didn't, she loaded some big stuff on him, which it would freak out my parents too. But after enough freakouts, they get used to you and they're like, okay, yeah. Kelly is still has some bit of a fear of failure of speaking her truth to her clients based on what happened in 1995 with her dad. Okay, there are still one or more emotional layers causing this fear of failure in Kelly. Kelly is at level 0, 100% clear of this fear of failure. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling like my body's just relaxed. There's a sort of weird ache that came up there when I was releasing, and it did. You're so right, because it felt like it was there, but it was going down, almost onto the higher heart energy space, and it felt tight in a weird way. But then as we were working, it felt like everything, it was relaxing, and there was a sort of, like when you've been hot like that and then you relax, it's almost like you ache a little bit, but you know that the muscles have just released. So
Yes.
That's what it feels like. And
Good. That's good.
Thank you, Michael.
Oh, you're welcome so much. Yeah. And so anyone who's watching, this is such a perfect demonstration you could do for yourself. You can watch this part of the video over and over again and then insert into our clearing statements what's ailing you, as we say here in the United States.
Yeah.
Just whatever it happens to be, just do it and get rid of it. And also, I just want to say, like for me and most of my clients, probably most people, when you first start doing this dowsing and healing and clearing and stuff, it seems like a lot to do. But the more you do it, the faster you get, and you can be like Kelly and I and just super fast get it done and then get on with your day or whatever you're doing and helping other people. That's another thing that was a huge, I'm going to say a bonus of people who used to work with me when I was taking clients in sessions, is we would get through so much. There was like, I have a whole list of stuff, 2 pages of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure we won't get through just not even a half page. We clear all the 2 pages like that, and then boom, what else you got? And they're like, I don't know, but I feel something isn't right. Use the dowsing to find it. So it's so beautiful. No one has to suffer. You can just love your life and just stay healthy, strong, energized, and youthful, because fear will bring you down, especially fear of failure.
Yes.
It'll keep you, fear of failure keeps you from doing your artwork, your creativity, your writing in my case. Sometimes, excuse me, something's else coming up from you, girl. Okay, let's clear that now. Woo. Woo. Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, things don't always have to be identified to clear them, but generally that's the best way to go.
Yes.
And make sure that level 0 and completely cleared.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
But will you tell us about the 5 fears again, so for the people watching, that sort of checking what the 5 fears are? We spoke a little bit before we started recording, and we said, fear of failure is a really big one that affects a lot of people. But what are the other fears, Colleen, in your experience?
Another big fear with humans is a fear of not being safe.
Yeah.
And excuse me, there's something going on energetically. I'm just going to clear. Okay, this is another learning experience for everyone who's watching.
Yeah.
Some new people moved in next door to me.
Right.
And one of them is very toxic. And I started getting really scary energies coming through. and I can sense them. And sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night and feel like someone's strangling me in my bed.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm sensing now is something going on over there. Permanently, okay. I just sent Archangel Michael in and Archangel Raphael. And I apologize everyone for the coughing, but also if you're coughing a lot, you might want to douse everyone who's watching to see what the reason is. Like I was dowsing under the table asking, is it a fear coming from me, something coming from Kelly? At first it was something coming from you that didn't want to be released.
Yeah.
It's just our working together is letting things go for us both, which is beautiful. And then I asked, was it next door? And yes, it was. And I cleared it. Archangel Michael cleared it. So, folks, if you start coughing, you don't know why. Don't think of like, oh, I'm coming down with something. Maybe you are. But you also may be, as we're all growing spiritually with the ascension, you may be sensing things you never sensed before. So that's why dowsing's so cool. You can ask, is there a non-beneficial energy in this room? It's not in my room. Is there non-beneficial energies in the house next door to me? Of course, always coming up from below earth. Anyway, and then clear it out.
Yeah.
So I will, now that I've recovered from which was supposed to happen, I guess.
Yeah.
I will go back to the next fear that I test for after fear of failure is a fear of not being safe. It's our instinct as humans. We need to be safe and secure. And if we don't, we need to do something. And then it could trigger the stress response like fight or flight or freeze.
Yeah.
So you want to clear that out as well. It's very big in animals as well. I've done a lot of work at a horse rescue ranch. Some animal rescues here, Humane Society. Animals' biggest fear is usually not a fear of failure, right? Obviously. Animals who are like actors and performance animals, obstacle courses stuff, they have a fear of failure, some of them. And horses that are like show horses and things, they might have a fear of failure. But most animals, if you want to work on animals, I would definitely check for a fear of not being safe. That is their instinct. They need to be safe. And you need to show them that you're their leader, that they're safe with you. So that's one right there. Same with children, of course. Children need to feel safe. That's another one. And then the third fear I always check for is a fear that the bad times will never end. And what that means is when we're going through some really rough times, or like say your country is politically, I won't go into details, but then you have this fear. You don't know when it's going to end. And we rarely know when something's going to end. So you're trying to be strong and be brave. And you have this fear, I don't know when it's going to end, and I don't know how much longer I could take this. That's what you clear out. And for abused animals, I have found that with them as well. And of course, abused humans. You never know when it's going to end. All you know is every day is hell for you. So you clear that fear. And one thing I learned as an older person is life is all about cycles, you know? Everything's going great and you're all happy, and then kaboom, crap happens.
Yeah.
Could be something breaks down, whatever. And I was in a terrible habit of believing, like, I don't know when this is going to end. I'm afraid I can't make it, you know. And then I realized that's just a stupid belief I had. And you just clear, you know, by using your pendulum if you want. I release this fear that the bad times are never going to end. I release this fear that I'm not safe. And you could say things like, I know I'm in a tough cycle right now. Could be financially, physically. So many people are suffering mentally, emotionally. I mean, there could be relationship issues, kid issues, everything. And you just say, I've released this now. I let it go. I scramble the energy and neutralize the frequency and all the vibrations of this fear that I'm not safe, that these bad times are never going to end, that things could get worse. Oh no. And then spin the other direction and say, I now believe in cycles of life, and I got the strength from Creator, from Prime Source, whatever you believe in. I got the strength to get through this, and I will get through this, and I'm going to learn great things to help myself and others in the future. And so it is. That's what I do.
Yeah.
So you need a little more worry.
I mean, I don't know whether it's naivety, because I've had a few near misses with death, but I just don't have any. I never think to myself, "Oh my God, this is going to go on and on," like that. It just doesn't hit me, and maybe that's because I've had those experiences in my past with my health, and I've had transplants and things, and I always know, I absolutely hold the thought that it is going to get better. This is going to get better. I'm just in a bit at the moment that, maybe it's not the most comfortable, but I know it's going to get better. And that might be in a minute, or it might be in an hour, or it might be tomorrow when I wake up, but I know it's going to get better. I hold that energy. And maybe it's part of me having to, having time. When I was on dialysis for a year and a half, and it was grim. There's no two ways about it. It took up too much of my time for my liking. It meant I was away from my dog, and I had to be in a hospital ward with tons of other people, and it was just miserable. And then there was the physical side effects. But I always held that thought, this will get better, and it might
get awesome.
Yeah. But it's
it's
an interesting one, because I totally get it. I've had clients that very much believe that their life is just dealing them one thing after another. But if you don't clear it, it's for me, it's like you're getting a message that something needs to change or shift or move. And whether that, don't stay in a low frequency because you're just going to bring more of it in. So try and raise your, like one of the things I used to do when I was on dialysis, sounds so superficial, but I'd see that time, I'd go, right, I'm going to try and enjoy it as much as I can. I'm going to take the food that I can have, because I'm having the clearing is happening in my physical body, so I can actually eat stuff that I can't normally. And I'm going to let myself enjoy this time. I actually started practicing calligraphy, because Frog, as you know, he's an amazing calligrapher, and he'd given me the basics. So I used to spend the time doing that, so that I was benefiting, and I think there's a real thing in that of just whatever situation you're in, try and make it for yourself as good as you possibly can, if you're able to.
Yes.
And
yes, absolutely. And another thing I know that helped me, besides I kept repeating to myself, this too shall pass, this too shall pass, and releasing the fears. But what really helps elevate your energy, possibly to bring the good stuff coming your way faster, is to imagine that you're already through it.
Yes.
And say I had to have a major operation years ago, and some of my family members knew people who had similar operations, and terrible things happened afterwards, and they're all worried about me, and I'm like, shut up, just shut up, I don't want to hear. So what I kept imagining, oh, we're worried about you, don't put that energy on me, please. I kept imagining going to the doctor for my follow-up appointment so he could examine all the stitches and how it's all healing. He would say, my goodness, this is really coming along well. I've never seen anyone heal like this. And I kept doing that and doing that and doing that, especially when I was in horrible pain from the surgery and the medication wasn't doing its job and everything. And I kept imagining him. And sure enough, I go in, and I'm laying there on the table, and he looks and he goes, whoa, this is really healed quickly. He goes, I've never seen anything like this. He goes, oh, very good. And I'm like, yes, quantum physics does work, people. It absolutely does. When you focus on something that you want to happen, you start all those quantum particles dancing, and creating what you want to have happen. And I love that. And it's science. It's not just woo-woo BS, right? It's the truth. So yeah, life is cycles.
And your mind, you're hearing your thoughts, so make your thoughts good ones that are going to help you, like don't add in to what's already going on, or I'm in so much pain, I'm in oh, this is never going to heal, add in, this is amazing, my body's healing really well, the doctors are going to be so impressed with me, my body has full capability to heal.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's just, I think something that's quite interesting to hear what you think about it, but I think people are bombarded with negativity via the news and even things that they might watch and stuff, and it opens up more neural networks, so it's easier for them to sink into negative thinking or limiting thinking than to make a tiny little step up and a bit of effort into, okay, this, as you said, this too will pass and I'll feel better really quickly, everything will work out for me, or whatever it is that you need to say to yourself. I sometimes do this thing if I'm riding my little electric moped around and a car cuts me up or something, and there's an instinct to go like that, but I always try and cut it by going, life is good, life is good, life is good, to keep my thoughts. I don't want to be affected by other people's behaviors particularly, I want to keep my energy as high as I can, and we are, we're humans, so we're fallible. We're living in a 3D world, but we can help ourselves through anything, can't we, essentially?
Yeah, we can. And like what you said about the media and the television, they have a vested interest in their emotional terrorism of us.
Yes.
Because they can emotionally terrorize with all this, even if it's stuff that didn't happen yet. Well, this could happen. We could see this happening. And if this happens, it's going to be... Shut up. It hasn't happened yet. And I call that mental trash. And what I do is you could spin your pendulum to the left and just say, I often do this nightly after I'm done with my computer work.
Yeah.
Because I advertise my books on social media and I interact with a lot of people about dowsing and such.
Yeah.
And just say, I now clear all this mental trash from everything I saw today, I tasted today, I touched today, I watched today on TV, in the media, on the internet. I let all this mental trash, this negativity go, these non-beneficial emotions. I no longer wish to be affected. I release my fear. I'll just go through the 5 fears real quickly here.
Yeah, let's do it.
I release my fear of failure to survive what's going on now, whether it be in my life or outside of my life. I release my fear that I'm not safe now, or my family members aren't safe now. Being afraid of not being safe is not any way to fix your life or your loved ones' lives. I choose to let this go and feel safe, because when I feel safe, my mind, my body, my energy opens up to wonderful suggestions and ideas from spirit. I release my fear that the bad times are never going to end. I choose to believe everything's in cycles. It's cyclic, and I might be in a tough cycle now, but this too shall pass. And I choose to focus on just me dancing around the house, yelling, it's over, yay, woo! I love being all crazy and fun like that. Yeah. Of course, I live alone, so I'm allowed to be crazy and fun and not freak out anyone, except maybe the neighbors. So then the next fear that I didn't discuss yet is a fear of rejection or abandonment, which are very similar but not the same, but I lumped them together. Animals who have been adopted several times and returned, or kids too. But fear of rejection and abandonment by adults in relationships, by losing your job, rejection and abandonment by your income, all this. I choose to release this now as well. There's so many things that we're afraid of losing, and it's also afraid of loss, rejection and abandonment by a loved one who dies or who's very ill, including our animal friends who we love.
And
that's the last
as well. when we reject ourselves.
Yes, yes, very good. Yeah, and then the last one is weird, but boy, I've found it in myself and other people a lot and cleared it, is a fear that with success comes consequences. We have all done stuff, like in my case, I got a new job. Oh my God, it's so cool. I love it. I'm so happy and excited. And then I'm like, this sucks. Just, no wonder they hired me. Maybe they couldn't find anyone else. Someone else knew better. Yeah, and then you're stuck there, and it's like, oh my God, these people, the managers, yeah. The consequences of success, also in relationships. You find someone, maybe you think they're your next sweetheart, your forever person, and they're just the for now person, and it's you get rejected, or you wish that they would leave or something like that, which is a fear of the consequences of success. I'm in a successful relationship, and now I'm realizing I don't want to spend the rest of my life with this person, or it's just not right, because everyone reveals more of themselves in a relationship. So jobs, relationships. Also, this is a big one for people who are having a hard time with their income. Fear of the consequences of success, in that you get a bunch of money, you're doing really well, and then all your relatives show up to borrow. I have found this in so many people and myself, or friends, or people are going to try to scam you or rip you off. I mean, we all know famous people who have lost millions of dollars because they were generous and kind and helped people out, and so that's a big one. But all 5 of these fears can be found in ailments, in money issues, in relationship issues, all kinds of things. And all you got to do is clear them with your pendulum. That's what, by the pendulum, and pendulums are so much fun to use as well. I just love them. And of course, Kelly uses her pendulum. I use muscle testing. She uses hers to determine things. I use my muscle testing because I like that better. Use whatever works for you, people. Use whatever works for you. And then you could just, again, spin in some quick affirmations to the right. I now fill all my energy with good fortune, with love and light, with inspiration, with intuition. All the good things come upon me now because I do deserve it. I'm seen with favor by the universe, by spirit, whatever you believe in. And I spread this to my family, and I spread this as far out around the world as I can, that all beings may live in a beautiful home, a safe home. May all beings be surrounded by safety and peace and love and life. May all beings have plenty of food to eat and clean water and health care. May all beings be loved by others. May all beings feel safe from attack. May all beings feel safe in their home country. May this world be bathed in love and light and peace and joy and bliss, because that's basically what all of us want. Except for maybe a few power-hungry people. But the rest of us, that's what we want, and we're in the majority, and we're going to create that now, and so it is.
So it is. Lovely. Oh, thank you. That was amazing. Really enjoyed doing that.
Welcome.
Is there anything else you'd like to say before we will put up your website and your books in the description. We'll write it across the video for you as well, so that people can look up your books and get in touch if they want to. But is there anything else you'd like to tell us or end on?
Well, I guess I know a lot of dowsers will be watching this, and again, just to reiterate, the biggest block to your intuition and your dowsing is your fear. When you start dowsing, everyone comes up with difficulties and weird, funky answers and things like that, and fear is usually what's blocking it. And some people give up trying to learn the pendulum or the dowsing rods or muscle testing. I just can't get this. It's not for me and everything. It is for you because you wanted to do it in the beginning. So go ahead and keep going for it. Just release. That's a fear of failure. I'm afraid I'll never get, the bad times are never going to end. I'm going to be a failure. I won't get through this. I'll never be as good as Kelly or Colleen. Yes, you will. It took us a while to get here, and we're sharing all the tips and tricks to get you here faster. So never give up, please. Dowsing is one of the most beautiful gifts you could ever give yourself. Do you feel that way about your dowsing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's such an easy way to work. It's so effective as well. And you can connect with your unconscious mind to get the answers. You can bring in guides. You can connect with the frequencies of animals and plants and all sorts of things. Angel frequencies. There's so much you can do with a pendulum. It's not just about yes or no answers, is it? It's
yes.
Healing work can be done in this way. And it's a true gift.
It is. Absolutely.
And don't give up, as Colleen says.
Yeah, never give up. Just keep going for it. And just understand that maybe the difficulties you have learning things or on healing yourself or your loved ones, those are things you learn to help others in the future or yourself. That's what I've learned in my whole life. It's like that movie Slumdog Millionaire, where the poor guy goes through the worst things in his life, and then they end up everything he learned from those words end up helping him win the million. Woo! Love it. That's the same for us too.
It is. It's all a learning. Every challenge is a learning, and we can learn from it and move on, or we can keep playing the old game and have some other lessons come in that sort of will stop you in your tracks. So, the quicker you can identify as well, okay, there's something a little bit off, and we're living beings, our energy field and our chakras, they're all absorbing and changing all the time, so it's sort of it's just work on yourself, and it's so simple. I mean, it's ridiculously simple in a way, isn't it? It's like, and I mean, I remember when I first trained in EFT, and like I thought, how is this going to be working to help us release stuff? But our bodies are amazing, and so they know when we're doing something, whether it's dowsing or tapping or having healing, that we're doing something to help ourselves, which, if it doesn't do anything else, it's going to increase your self-worth, because you've just taken some time out to look after yourself, rather than watch the telly or something mindless, so it's a real gift. And I'm where it's taken me personally, I feel like, wow, I wish I'd known about this 20 years. Well, I sort of did know about it 20 years ago, but I was only told that you can use a pendulum to find out how many past lives you've had or speak to aliens, which at the time I was a bit like, what? Whereas now, there's so much more to it. And I know a lot of people come into it to, they want to know yes and no questions, don't they? But there's a whole world out there of things we can do with a pendulum, or using your body as a dowsing tool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's amazing.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Colleen, for giving us your time.
I'm honored, and thank you for having me. This has been incredible. You are just a delightful lady to speak with, and you're so accomplished. And the new book, your new books, and with the pendulum charts and things. I know some people love the pendulum charts, and I took a look through your videos at what you have done. And for people who love to be guided like that, incredible and colorful and beautiful. So absolutely, I recommend them, and your pendulums and such. You offer so many good things. And when it comes to dowsing, people, there's something for everyone.
They're really
dowsing, pendulums. Using the body, which is called deviceless dowsing. There's so much. Please go for it. Give yourself the gift of dowsing.
Oh, thank you so much, Colleen. And it's been an absolute honor to speak to you. And, I feel really thankful and grateful that you came on and shared all this knowledge with everybody. And, that's what we're all about. We want to share the knowledge so that you don't have to work quite as hard as maybe we did.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for having me. It's just been a blast. Just so much fun.
Lovely. All right, everyone, if you could give us a like or subscribe if you haven't, because we are going to be doing more interviews through the year. Maybe we'll have Colleen back again at some point if she's up for it as well.
Yes.
Really lovely connection. And thank you very much for watching. Thank you, everybody, and we'll say goodbye now. Bye-bye.
Whispers of the pendulum,
Bye.
we journey took guiding souls to realms where dreams convene. Kelly and Frog, the masters of the chess.